Welcome to the Getting Started for Project Management webinar. My name is Itai and I'm a Customer Success Manager here at monday.com. I'm super excited to be here with you guys today. But first I want to cover what we're going to do today. Today we will walk you through our platform and show you how monday.com can be used to manage your project more efficiently. That will take around half an hour. I will provide a use case and we will create a board together from scratch. So I'll give you the tools that you need to get started and hopefully I'll be able to spark some inspiration for your use of monday.com. So one of the main questions that I would like to address before we get started is what is monday.com and what can it be used for? Well, monday.com is a work OS, always allow team to manage project processes and work with ease with a few main goals in mind: to increase transparency, accountability, collaboration, and empowerment between teams, and to make working more enjoyable while doing so. With that being said, one of the most amazing things about monday.com is that it is fully flexible and customizable tool that adapts to your specific needs. We have users across all verticals and fields, from sales to marketing, production to churches, construction companies, and even universities. The possibilities that you have with monday.com are endless. Additionally, our platform can work for a variety of different team sizes. We have a variety of accounts that range from big teams of thousands of users to small teams and users that use the platform on their own. With that being said, let's hop right into my Monday account and take a closer look in why this is the platform and how it works. All right, so welcome to my Monday account. Firstly, I would like to go over the core and heart of our platform, which is our boards. A board is a place where all the information is located. Now, because the platform is super customizable, you can use the boards to manage any process or project you want. Some simple examples are included, for example, managing projects, like this project overview board, perhaps managing your team tasks, like this team task board that I've created, or even salaries or costs of a project, like my salary schedule board over here. Really anything you want. All of the boards will be located on the left pane right here, and you can even organize them by folders like I just did. Now, we have three different types of boards: main, shareable, and private boards. While all of these boards hold the same structure, the difference between them lies at the access level. A main board is a board that everyone has access to. It ensures a high level of transparency and team collaboration, just like my project overview board. Next, there's the private board. These are boards that contain private or sensitive data. You can manage them on your own or maybe invite specific people to the board. Only the specific people invited to each board will be able to see it and access it, like my salary board over here. You can identify a private board by this lock symbol right next to the name over here and over here. Now, shareable boards are the same as private, but you can also invite guests, which are people outside of your company, for example, clients or freelancers working with you on the same project, like here in my team task schedule. You can identify a shareable board by this share symbol over here and over here. Great. Now that we have a basic understanding of the different types of boards that we have and the accessibility levels that each offers, let's dive right into creating a board from scratch together. For that, all we need to do is click on the Add sign over here, next to the board section, and you have the option to create board from scratch or new blank right here. You can also choose to import from any existing spreadsheet that you have, from Excel, Asana, Trello, Basecamp, or Facebook Ads. Or you can create a board from one of our many templates that we offer. Now, by clicking on See More Templates, you'll be able to access all sorts of templates. We even have a special section for project management specifically, so definitely make sure to check this out. Before we start, I'd like to show the final result of what we're building together so you can have a better understanding of what we're going to get by the end of this. So, welcome to Project Romeo. This is the project that I'm working on. This is where my team and I are working together on our new project. One thing you should know is that our project has 4 different phases: planning, execution, launch, and closure. And we have pretty strict deadline to follow, and we really need to follow up on them. Now we will create a Project Romeo board together from scratch to keep track of our project progress. So let's press on the plus button over here again and choose blank board so we can really start from scratch. Now you can see here that you can choose which one of the different options you want to choose. I'm going to choose main board, and I'm going to call it Project Romeo. I'm going to create a board real quick, and it's a main board that everybody can see. So as you can see, you will have two groups by default when creating a board from scratch. However, you can go ahead and add as many more as you'd like. So what is a group really? A group can be whatever you want it to be. That can really help you organize your board. So you could choose to have each group as a client, location, time frame, or as a phase, as I do in my project. So I'll create a group, and I'm going to title this one planning, because this is my first phase, and the next group will be execution, because this is my other phase. And I'll even add another group by just clicking over here and just add another group for the sake of the example, call it launch. Great. You can see here that under each group you have a couple of rows, which we refer to as items, which again, you can make it into anything that you want it to be. It can be a task, an action item, a client, really anything. In my case, each item will be an activity that the team and I will have to complete before moving to the next step. So instead of items, I'm going to choose and change this to activity, perhaps activity 2, and so on and so forth. Cool. So as you can see here, I have on the right side, I have a few different columns set up already, but I can change them, of course, into anything I want. Now here I have a person column, which I can use to assign responsibilities to my team members. This column is great to help create ownership and to track who is in charge of what. So maybe I will assign myself to activity number 1, and Ross will be in charge of activity number 2, because Ross and all the friends character are working for my company. And Monica will be in charge of activity number 3, and so on and so forth. Now, when you assign a task to a team member, they will receive an immediate notification in the platform, email, and mobile app. So they'll be always aware of anything they need to get done. Now you can also see here that I have a status column right next to it. When I click on the status over here, you can see that I have my 3 default labels set to working on it, stuck, and done. If I click here on add or edit label, I can really customize the status column and add any columns or any labels that I want. Now what I love about the status column is that it can be used for so many different things. In our case, it could be used for priority, a drop-down menu, or really anything. In my case, I'm going to leave it as is because it makes sense in my board, but I'll add a couple of labels. So perhaps I'm going to add a label, and this label will be future step, right? Because I want to indicate future activities. Another label that could be useful will be ready to review, if I want my manager to take a look at it. And perhaps the last one will be on hold, if the project manager decided to hold for now. So I can really change those and see what I want to see right away. Now, as you can see, this column can be very useful in giving us a very visual and colorful view of the different items. Next to the status column, I have here a date column. It can really help me understand my project due dates. I can then prioritize my activities and tasks accordingly. So perhaps I'll change this one to today, and this one will be perhaps tomorrow, and next week, and so on and so forth. Another great feature that can be used when having a status column and a date column is the deadline mode. This feature will allow you to have a view of what tasks are behind, completed, and how many days I have until we reach the next due date for each of these items. So it is a very visual way to keep track of the dates and to make sure nothing is behind. We just need to click on the down-facing arrow of the date column and navigate to set as deadline. Once I do that, I have to kind of choose which the columns I want to choose. So status will be attached. I'm going to connect these columns, and you can see over here, it is very visual. But actually, Project Romeo's activities are a very specific timeline, and I want to make sure I allocate the right amount of time so the team knows where we should focus. For this, I'm going to add a couple more columns to my board. So when I click on the plus sign right over here to add a column, a list of the top 7 most essentials columns will appear here. If I click on more columns, you have an option to choose from a variety of over 30 columns. I want to add a column called timeline column, which is this one. It could be great to give me a very visual representation of a project or a task that spans over a range of days. In our case, how long will every activity take to be completed? So perhaps activity number 1 will take only 2 days. Activity number 2 will actually take 3 days. And this one is actually towards the end of the month, and so on and so forth. Great. It is also very important to my team and I to keep track of the costs for every activity, so we know we don't go over budget. For that, I'm going to add a number column, which can be located right here. The number column is really useful in displaying any type of numbers that we need, such as hours, cost, days, etc. The number column also allows you to get simple calculations of the sum, average, count, or any of those for all the numbers in this column. So I'll go in and I'll change the name of this actually to costs, because that's what I want to see. So once we add the new activity, we can add the cost in advance, and let's put some costs. So for example, this one will be $150. This one will cost $200. This is pretty expensive, $300. Now, all we need to do is click right here on the footer, and we can choose the currency and the unit. We can even customize it. We can use the function, maybe an average or median, min, max, and so on and so forth. Now, you can see that the sum is automatically calculated over here, but as you see, I can always change it. I added the $sign, and I'm all good to go. Now, as mentioned, I also have the option to choose from a variety of additional columns, which we have over 30 of. So really, I recommend taking a look at those and see what fits your needs. Before we move on, I want to point out that on top of the groups, items, and columns, we can now add an additional layer called sub-items. Sub-items provide your items on your board with a deeper structure. You can use them to better support your workflow or enable more complex workflows on a single board. Now, utilizing the sub-items will give you the low-level item detail that you're looking for when breaking down your work for a more granular view. In order to add sub-items, you can simply right-click on any of the items and click Add Sub-items, which will generate a new column. One advantage of the sub-items is that they are fully customizable and can have different structure than your board structure. So you can add multiple sub-items and really just open it and close it over here. Amazing. All right, let's move to a board that I've pre-made and is complete, but basically have the same structure. So now the next step that I want to show you is our different views that we offer, which can be a really great way to see your work in a different visual dimension. Now, when I click here on the timeline, it opens up the timeline view where I can really choose View in Timeline. And I can see the range of dates for my tasks. Now, the timeline view gives you a great high-level pictures of what's happening, and it makes the dates that you've set much more visual, so you can see who is working on what and what is expected to be completed. I can then see how long me and my teammates will be working on each activity and plan ahead. Now, if I click on the gear icon right over here, I can also choose how I want to group the item. So for example, if I want to divide my timeline by the owner of the task and not by the group, I'm just going to click on Group By, choose the owner, and there I see it by person. In addition, I can decide how I want to color my item. So for example, it will make a lot of sense to color my timeline by status instead of groups. So I can see any activity that is marked as a stack, for example. So if I color by the labels color, I can really have a visual representation of what's done, what's behind, and if I see anything that in a color that I don't like, I can simply click on it and see what's going on and make sure that it's being addressed. Amazing. Now, when you click on one of the timelines that as you see, you'll get the card view of the specific items and change anything from there directly. So you don't need to go on and back to the board and back here. And you can usually just change everything from here. Add owner, change the timeline, and so on and so forth. You can even drag the timeline over here and it will be adjusted on your board, or expand, or change the timelines altogether. In case I want to focus on a specific phase, I can collapse, or a specific person, I can collapse and extend whenever I want. So if I don't want to see everybody, I can just quickly click here and just focus on Rachel, for example, which would be really cool. Or if I go by groups, I just want to see the execution. I don't care about the other things. And lastly, you can view your timeline in a Gantt mode and visualize the next activity that way, which is right over here. So this is when it's ungranted or unticked, and this is when it's ticked. So the Gantt mode is really useful. Now, by clicking on the timeline over here at the top of the screen, I can go back into my main board and navigate back to the timeline whenever I want. You can also choose to view this information in another way. So I will show you just one more view that I really like, which is the chart view. Now, this view provides a great way to see the analytics side of your workflow. You can also choose to view this information as a pie or line or anything that you like to see. This is a super powerful tool. It can provide you with very visual reporting capabilities in order to enhance your workflow. For example, I can see here how much money I spent per phase, and I can see that planning was way more expensive than execution, than launch, and for now, I don't really have expenses for the closure, which is really good to know. Now, I can open up the view center over here and kind of choose from a variety of different views that I have. If I click on more views, you have all the options, so I highly recommend checking them out and see if this can be helpful to your workflow. So the next thing we are going to cover is communication within monday.com, and our platform can be helpful with communicating in context of what is relevant and to reduce the spend and long, dreadful emails, chains, and meetings. You can press from the main board on any of these Bible speech or items, and your board will open up an update section that you'll see right over here. Now, I'm going to press over here on the activity number 1 that I created, and I can really just write any update that will be directed to this specific item. I can write anything that I would like. I can upload perhaps a file. I can add a GIF perhaps if I want to make it a bit fun, emojis, or even out-mentioning someone. Now, when you out-mention anyone, the teammate will be notified directly for the specific column. So I will go ahead, for example, and mention perhaps Monica in this specific project. And I'm going to write, hey, Monica, great job finishing that activity. Can I assign you to help Joey in his tasks? I can quickly just upload this. Amazing. So the update section is really great way to communicate within context of what is important. Now, additionally, all of your relevant information, such as communication and files that related to each task or project, will be located right here. So you won't have to search through endless email threads or files in your computer to intensely find all the relevant information. It will all just be here. Now, I would like to note that when out mentioning someone, like I just did with Monica, they will receive the notification in 3 different ways. First, here in the bell notification, which can in the inbox right here. And they're also going to get an email. Great. Now, As I mentioned, one of the other places that Joey will receive notification is the inbox, as you can see over here, that I have from another webinar that I've created. So our inbox works much like a social media feed, where you get all the updates from all the boards that you are subscribed to or any time that you're at mentioned. It is a great way to stay up to date with all the communication, changes, and updates in all of your boards that you're interested in following. You can click here on the blue box right here, on the blue check mark, to clear your inbox. Now, the last place you will be receiving a notification, as I said, is your email. So you'll be sure that you and your teammate would not miss any important information. So in summary, using our update section and inbox is a really great way to communicate inside of a specific item, keeping all the conversation about a specific task or project in the same place and in context, so you can limit time searching through endless email threads. Amazing. So now that we've built our board, I'd like to show you what you can achieve with your boards if you expend a little more time on it. So if that was our board, I'm going to go into Project Romeo Advance. I'm going to kind of show you what I've created. I basically just took the same board and kind of added a couple of more columns and advanced columns. So now that your board is getting more and more complete, you can use filters to find the specific information that you're looking for. This is a great way to search and find data across your entire account. First, I want to show you how you can search through your monday.com board. So we have a multiple option. First one is free search. Everything that you write here will be populated. So for example, I write activity 1 perhaps, or even Joey, and I'll find anything that's assigned to Joey. The next place to filter is by person. So perhaps I want to see Rachel, so I can just click on Rachel. And lastly, I can filter with the advanced filter, which can help me really search for very specific information and attach multiple conditions. For example, I want to see anything that has to do with Joey, but also that the status is not done, for example. And then I only see that, which is great. Now what I can do now is I can click here on Save as New View, and I'll be able to save this specific view, and I can call it Joey's view. Kind of click Enter. Now I can revert back to the main table and Joey view anytime I want, and Joey can do the same. And I can kind of create a filter per person or per phase, and so on and so forth. Really, the options here are really endless with the filter, which is really, really great. Now, another thing I want to show you real quick is how you can search across your entire account rather than just a specific board. Now, by pressing right here, you can access our Search Everything bar, which will allow you to search for anything across your entire account. So let's say that I want to see all the tasks that I'm assigned to across my entire account. I can type in my name, and then all my assignment will appear in one place for me to see. So I'm going to write tie shop tie, and I can really search by any keywords. Sorry about that. Any keywords that I would like that appears in my account will kind of like aggregate and show all my tasks, all the information that answered this search right here. I can even save that search for later on to use it quickly. Amazing. I'd also like to show you one of our more advanced features, which is the automations. Automations allow you to use events inside Monday, like maybe changing a status or anything like that, to trigger an action, like maybe sending a notification. This is done by using predefined automations flows, which we have created for you to choose from. Now, on top of our build automations, we now offer custom automations, which you can build on your own. You can find them in the Automation Center, which you can find right here, with the rest of the pre-defined recipes. And the amount of the combination you can make now are actually endless. Just to show you how it looks like, let's build a simple automation that will notify us whenever a status is changed to done, so I can follow up on my projects. So I go to the Automation Center, and you can see a list of dozens of automations that I can create. I'm going to create a simple one that basically says, when status changes to something, I want to get a notification. So when my status column will be changed to done, I want to get a notification and say item name is done, pretty simple, and I want to be notified. So I want to get a notification personally. I'm going to add this to my board. Great. All right. So now whenever any status will be marked as done, for example, if we'll take activity number 6, and we mark it as done, we are going to get a notification into a bell notification. Let me quick refresh. And as you can see over here, I got a notification already. Cool. All right. Lastly, I want to quickly mention our amazing dashboard. Let me show you how this looks like. Basically, dashboards, which you can really find here. When you add a column, you can just simply add a dashboard. This is a really awesome feature that will give you a great overview of what's happening across multiple boards at once to help create summaries, reports, and get a high-level view of everything that is important to you. Since we don't have much time left, I want to just go ahead and pre-made a dashboard with a few widgets to help give me an overview of the different metrics of our business. Now, although these are covered more in depth in our advanced webinars, I do want to quickly show you some of the capabilities that we have over here and spark the inspiration in you. If you want to learn more about these, I recommend watching our 2 reporting webinars, which you can find on demand on our webinar page. As we are getting to the end of our Getting Started to Project Management webinar, I just wanted to let you know that now you have the tools to start your monday.com account. I hope this was inspiring, so you can now explore the other features that you weren't able to cover, like automations, integrations, other columns, resource management, dependencies, and go into more depth on dashboards and much, much more. We do offer many other webinars that will cover those features, and I recommend starting with our advanced product demo webinar. We're also working on a more advanced project management webinar, which will be coming very soon. I also want to show you a quick way to access all of our helpful resources. Now, by clicking here on that question mark, you're able to find all of the knowledge base articles, our webinars and videos, as well as the Contact Us button, so you can reach out to our support directly. And you can even suggest a feature right here if you have something in mind. Additionally, you can always reach us also at support@monday.com 24/7, 365 days of the year. We're really here for you for anything that you want. So thank you so much for joining me today and joining us. Welcome to monday.com. Hope this was helpful, and have a wonderful rest of your day.